Welcome to Real Estate IQ Wisdom for Smart Moves. We will explore the insider secrets tailored exclusively for Silicon Valley home buyers, sellers, and investors, arming you to conquer the unique real estate landscape. So, without further ado, let's dive into this exciting conversation. Today, we welcome Dedra, a certified senior advisor and geriatric care manager. She aims to support seniors and their families, expertly navigating complex healthcare systems like Medicare and Medi-Cal, and addressing their unique care needs. Thank you to our sponsor, TradeMyHome.com, for their community commitment and for making this podcast possible. In this episode, we explore the daunting challenges seniors encounter in Silicon Valley, from soaring costs that outpace the national average to a perplexing healthcare landscape and a severe lack of appropriate housing. The hurdles are substantial. Dedra, a geriatric care expert, joins us to offer her insights on how seniors can navigate these barriers and improve their quality of life in one of America's most economically challenging regions. Our host today, Shared Gupta, is a real estate broker in Silicon Valley and brings a wealth of life and professional experience to his role as a podcast host. The following content is only for informational purposes. Please consult a licensed consultant for your specific situation or if you need any specific legal or tax advice.
Dedra, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me today.
So tell us, Dedra, what do you do? Who do you work for, and how did it all begin?
Sure. So I'm a geriatric care manager with the law offices of Litherland, Kennedy & Associates, estate planning attorneys, and elder law. And I started there well over 10 years ago, and it started really with me having attended one of the seminars from that was being put on by Roy Litherland, one of the founder of attorneys.
Right. And
he was talking about things that I just didn't understand. My husband and I had a trust. I thought we were set. We were just concerned about what was going to happen, when we die with our kids. That's all it was. But amazingly enough, I went home and I said to my husband, I was like, we are missing something big in our estate documents. I don't quite understand it. And what I have come to find is that a comprehensive estate plan also not only deals with what happens after you die, but what happens if you lack capacity. So you're still alive, but you cannot be speaking for yourself. And that was huge for me. So I consider it very much an honor to be working with them and helping other families through different situations that have come up for them.
What is the role of a geriatric care manager?
That's a good question and often confusing to those who are looking it up and Google the word geriatric care manager. Often it is usually used for people who are case managers, and it's more of a boutique sort of person you would have to help your aging parent, and it'd be somebody who would go to the doctor's appointment, coordinate all events, make sure medications are taken properly, and go on a regular basis to visit the people. We kind of explain them as being a daughter that's not able to be there.
Right.
In my case, working at a law office as a geriatric care manager, I am the person that people call trying to figure out what is the next it. And so the planning sometimes, depending on the situation, could be coming up with a plan that is just hours away. It could be weeks away. It could be years away. And it's different for every person who's calling me. And what I'm looking at is to be an advocate for the seniors, for the families, develop a plan that takes into consideration the psychological, the social, and the medical part of what's going on with the individual or the couple.
Right.
Because that's what makes it different for everybody, is that what's going on with you may not be the same as what's going on with your neighbor. It may be the same age and the same way of life,
Sure.
But circumstances can be very different. So taking in a lot of information, making a lot of just talking with people is very much what I do. But coming up with a plan, coming up with the referrals to help with that plan is what I do. So I'm not a case manager.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going out to the home on a weekly basis checking on people, but I am coming up with a plan and helping the family move forward in helping their loved ones.
And why would a estate planning firm require a geriatric care manager like yourself?
Well, That's an excellent question. And you use the word require, and they don't, which is what makes us very unique and special. Because having a geriatric care manager in the office is what makes us well-rounded elder law attorney office. And this is that allows us to be full service.
Right.
And, it's not the attorneys that are going to know when a person calls and says, my mom's in the hospital and they want to discharge her. The attorneys aren't going to know what to do about that.
Right.
I have a history. My education is as an occupational therapist.
I see.
And so I've got the medical background. I've worked through many different arenas over the years. And prior to where I was at the law office, I was in a dementia day program. And so I have a very full understanding of how families are working with those with dementia, because that's a big part of also what's going on with incapacity issues. But the attorneys, they do what they do very well, which is legal work. And then there's me that deals with all the non-legal parts.
Sure.
And yet they do come together, and they're referring to me, I'm referring to them. So it is where you get the best service possible when you have both under the same roof.
What legal documents should seniors have in case they become incapacitated or they have any medical emergency?
Good question. This is actually foundational to helping seniors, helping your loved ones, that they have these legal documents in order. What are they? Well, an estate plan is either going to be a living trust, or it could be just a simple plan with a will to say what's going to happen with their estate. But more importantly, you want to have a financial power of attorney to be able to pay bills, as well as a healthcare power of attorney to be able to talk to the doctors and the doctors to talk to you. But when I just said that, there's actually one more thing that people never think of, and that is to have a HIPAA release.
I see.
So because of the whole a person needing privacy rights and all that, a healthcare power of attorney does allow a person to answer on their loved one's behalf. If the doctor says, what would you like, for your loved one? And they can answer. But without a HIPAA release, the doctor cannot release medical information to the family.
Okay.
And so you want to have both to have equal conversation going on. There's situations where even a wife has taken their husband who has dementia to a brand new doctor to check out a brand new type of possible medications. And because it's brand new, the doctor didn't know her.
Right.
And her husband went through all the testing, and the doctor says, okay, we've done all the testing. These are the two different options of care for your husband that I see, A or B. Which one would you like to go through? And the wife said, well, what was the result of the tests? And the doctor literally said, I cannot tell you.
Wow.
And how is she supposed to answer the question?
Right.
Now, she had never had this issue before because she was seeing all his regular doctors for years. And she never did get he never had a HIPAA release. So you want to make sure you have all documents in order. And then the other question of that was, you said, and medical emergencies. It's also important that if you're a senior, if you're older, let those who are your healthcare power of attorney to have copies of those documents, because these medical emergencies don't happen when we schedule them. They happen at the most inopportune time.
Right.
And so this is where family is often running to the ER. They're not going to the house to pick up the binder so that they can show that they have authority or whatever.
Right.
And so for whether it be the adult children or whoever has the authority to speak on your behalf, should you not be able to in a medical emergency, you want to have these copies readily available to you.
Right.
So again, it's for medical reasons, the healthcare power of attorney, the financial power of attorney, and then a trust should you need to access assets that are in the trust.
Get a guaranteed cash offer on your home from TradeMyHome.com, powered by Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We provide upfront written offers at a price agreeable to you. Experience a guaranteed sell with a hassle-free, highest and best price sell within your time frame. Are you selling your home in the next 3 to 6 months? Text PAIR to 408-740-7400 for a free and no obligation professional equity appraisal report. For more information, visit trademyhome.com or call 408-740-7400. Remember, at trademyhome.com, your home is sold guaranteed or we'll buy it.
And what other things should seniors care about or prepare for if they run into any medical emergency?
This is something that is amazing that people don't prepare. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about seniors who are living in their home, and whether you're married or living with your adult children or whatever the scenario, but you're at home. And it is very important when medical emergencies arise at home that those in the house, as well as your children, know what your wishes are. I had a situation where the ambulance was there, the paramedics were there, they're rolling mom out, and then they stop and say to the daughter, "What hospital should we take your mom to?" She had no idea. And then they continued on, and then they said they stopped right before they got mom out of the door, and they said, "And what medications is your mom taking?" No idea. And so the daughter was scrambling around the house, getting medications from all different areas of the house, from the kitchen to the bedroom to the bathroom, while she would have rather been with mom.
Right.
And so having your current list of medications at home in a real prominent position, as well as copies of them in your own personal wallet. So if you were the senior, have it dated so you know when it last was done, because if you go to the ER, they are going to check your wallet. They're going to see the list of medications. Those can be very important, especially depending on some of the medications for like Parkinson's and different treatments that people have. But I also recommend for those seniors living at home to have, if they live in the Santa Clara County area, to have what's called a life file. LIFE is an acronym, LIFE. Mm-hmm. Life-saving information for emergencies.
I see.
This is done through the emergency services, Santa Clara Emergency Services. When EMTs arrive at your house, you have called 911. They will look on your refrigerator for information that will be very handy for them to have. It will have and this is an envelope, and in it you can put whatever, but what they do have a piece of paper you can fill out, but what they're looking for is an emergency contact. What if you call 911, you're unconscious by the time they get there, and there's no one to answer for you? They have an emergency contact. They'll have the list of your current medications. Who's your doctor? What hospital do you want to go to? What are your current diagnoses that they want to be aware of? If you had a stroke 5 years ago, so you kind of aren't talking right, perhaps you're aphasic, and the paramedics come because you fell, and they hear you talking funny, they're going to think, "Oh no, you're just having a stroke." It's like, no, this is my norm. Yeah. I have a broken leg is really the problem, but you can't really communicate it. These are important things for them to know. You want to get treatment as quick as possible. So a life file on the refrigerator is just A1. The other thing, for those who are older, there's another form that could be put in this folder, mm-hmm. which is called a POLST. Okay. It's also an acronym, POLST, Physician's Order of Life-Sustaining Treatment. Mm-hmm. This is where it is used whenever a person calls 911, having a heart attack, call 911. And by the time the paramedics get there, perhaps there's no longer there's a heartbeat and you're not breathing. EMTs must perform CPR on you. If they find a POLST on this refrigerator, or if someone in the family knows there is a POLST, it is a doctor's order that says, if I am found with no heartbeat and not breathing, this is a doctor ordering, because that's the only way they can stop. EMTs must, again, do the CPR. But it's the one way to get them to stop, because you have written off that you do not want to be brought back. There's also more to it than just the DNR, do not resuscitate. Sure. There's other options which you should talk to your doctor about. And this is something you can also keep in your purse, your wallet, and it can, just a copy of it is valid should you be visiting your family or, anywhere.
These days, I see if you are using a phone, they all have this health like app on them, and then you can fill up that with all this information which you just said.
Yes, and a Pulse actually has, you can use a, you can have it on your phone, and it's just as valid again. And having different documents on your phone. There's different ways, there's different apps to have to hold those documents. But yes, there's a variety of ways to do that. As long as your phone doesn't get crunched in the car accident. I mean, who knows? Everyone's situation is different. Keep it in glove compartment and on your phone and in your wallet.
Yeah. What recommendations do you make for seniors who are trying to set up their home to age in place?
Aging in place is usually the top thing every senior wants. They want to stay at home. They want to pass at home. They do not want to have any other option. That is their goal. And yet it does take some work. I had a family member actually ask me, it's like, how long can this, can we continue having care done for my parents at home? And I said, as long as you've got the money to provide for it. And so there is a financial part of it if there's going to be caregivers. Mm-hmm. Caregiving for 24-hour caregivers in the home right now is around $38,000 a month.
Wow.
And is that feasible? Is that sustainable? Do you have long-term care insurance to pay for it? So that's just one aspect, mm-hmm. care. But more importantly is making the home safe, because the safety of you being there is all in your control.
Right.
This is the one environment where you spend most of your time and you have full control over it, and yet it is the place where most seniors will fall.
Right.
And why are they falling? They're not just falling because they're dizzy. It is tripping.
Mm.
So making a home safe involves picking up throw rugs, clearing the paths, not having cords around. It also involves lighting, bright lights. As we're getting older, our eyes' ability to refocus dark to light is very difficult, and we need more bright light to see clearer. And so it's important to turn on lights where we didn't used to back in the day. I used to go into the bathroom that has no windows, and I wouldn't have to turn on the light, but now I should. As I'm getting older, I need to turn on that light mm-hmm. and see what's there. What if one of the grandkids was over and left a toy in the middle?
Right.
I may not see it, so need to turn on lights. Because I'm one of those people that probably still won't, because I am a creature of nature as everyone else is, I would then recommend that any room where you should automatically turn on the light, switch out the light switch to be motion detected.
Right.
You walk in, it turns on. You walk out, after a passage of time, it turns off. So automation is very important and helps with aging. The other thing are railings. And railings, people think, well, I live in a one-story house. I don't need railings. I'm like, my bet is that you have to step down into your garage. My guess is your porch has a step down from the porch to the sidewalk, to the porch up into the house, out the back door. Even on a one-story, there are places for railings. Any place where there is a change in elevation, get railings. The reason for this is, again, and I'm putting myself in the aging, I'm a grandma of 3. I'm getting there. Is that the automatic responses are slowing down.
Right.
So when I used to trip, catch myself,
right.
Not a problem. Now I trip, that split second that I'm not responding, I am now too far to catch myself. And maybe my muscles aren't strong enough, my tone, there's other reasons.
True.
As we get older, but we will trip on things that we just never tripped on before. So remove those. And then lastly, grab bars in the bathrooms. And everyone said, well, I have a grab bar in my shower. Oh my, good for you. How many do you have? Well, the one. No. People don't just trip going into a shower. People don't trip just when they're in the shower. They also can slip and fall coming out of the shower. And too often people are trying to scramble and grab for the towel bar that is not a grab bar, but can be made into one. Or they try to reach for the counter, but they end up smacking their head on the toilet, the countertop, and it's just the beginning of a downward spiral. So safety is huge for aging in place. And then lastly, beyond safety, is just making adaptations that are ADA compliant. So being able to get a wheelchair in and out of something, get in and out of a shower, just getting into your bedroom. Not, if you have a house that's built in the 60s, you're not getting a wheelchair through that door.
Right.
And so just the fact that you might be in a wheelchair will keep you from living in your home. Even if you can do life independently, you need to make some adaptations. So there's lots of different facets to aging in place.
Absolutely. And these days, the technology is playing such a key role. And if people spend a little bit time to understand, just like you said, like having automation around when the light turns on, when the light turns off, but there are so many other facets around technology people can do.
There's so much. I mean, that's a whole other topic.
Right.
Especially for those who want to live by themselves and don't want, video cameras in the room. But there's other products out there for motion, sensing heat on stoves. Did you leave the stove on or off?
Yeah.
And then having the app that allows someone remotely to be triggered saying, oh, mom went into the bathroom and it's been 45 minutes since there's been no movement.
Right.
Let's call.
Right.
It's just, there's a lot that can be done nowadays.
Thank you, Dedra, for your time today. Keep up the great work and let's stay in touch.
Thank you, Sharad, for having me today. I really enjoyed sharing with you and with your audience. It's always excites me to be able to share, and hopefully someone gets an aha moment.
For the next episode of Real Estate IQ, featuring Dedra, is Certified Senior Advisor and Geriatric Care Manager.
I started there well over 10 years ago, and it started really with me having attended one of the seminars from that was being put on by Roy Litherland, one of the founder of attorneys.
Right.
And
she aims to support seniors and their families, expertly navigating complex healthcare systems like Medicare and Medi-Cal, and addressing their unique care needs.
That's all it was. But amazingly enough, I went home and I said to my husband, I was like, we are missing something big in our estate documents. I don't quite understand it.
Check out our full episode on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock Pacific and 8 o'clock Eastern on YouTube and Apple Podcast. Thank you for listening to the podcast and acknowledging the wisdom of smart moves in real estate in Silicon Valley. Please share this episode with a friend, subscribe, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts at Real Estate IQ. Thank you to our sponsor, TradeMyHome.com, for their client commitment and for making this podcast possible. If you're considering buying or selling a home, visit TradeMyHome.com. Until next time, remember to stay ahead in the real estate game.